Bro, I am not happy right now. I had a long ass day. And guess what? Fucking maintenance when I'm about to start playing. Hey, guys, we're gonna be talking about Gigi Wang's Nazuro's. You know, this is another chart I had stumbled across that really left an impression on me. Last time it was that Yasabi D23 full. I really like that. And I left my comment here. And it still resonates with me, so I wanted to talk about it. The main trends I really like about this, or the song you'll see, is the bum 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 bum, where it's jacks. There's brackets. Really cool quadrant distribution, and you're gonna see how as I go with that. You're gonna see parts of like the splitting between like the top left, like the four corners, quadrants, the distribution of notes. You're gonna actually see four quadrants being used, like the top left, top right, bottom left, bottom right, and then you're gonna see the entire left side and right side being used. Wenjuk, orenjuk. And then you're gonna see it shifts completely all around the pad. So really good development there. Overall, repetition is really, really good in this chart. And so I think the fun factor of this chart is astronomical. And it's Nazuro, so like of course it's gonna be good. But this chart really delivers it, and I wanted to showcase it here. There's nothing for me to really say in this beginning part. It's just good. There's some gimmicks and some ticks, adjustments, and also the bottoms of the drum. The flow just feels nice. Alright, yeah, it goes very quickly. So I guess we're gonna call this verse the "Please Don't Worry" part. And I really like this because as there's like more instruments and like the excitement starts to build up, it really adds to the movement. Like don't worry, and you're like kind of moving around to kind of like as a double way as ensuring the player, and also like as a metaphor. And then also as a final cherry on top, every time there's a ma symbol, or like when the ma is being said, you see that there's a little bit of extra weight shift here. You have a little split, ma, and then it's a split. So that's just, again, in other words, fun charting. Ma, it repeats that 3 times. Ma. And now, with the higher pitch, and if anyone knows, Old Pump, you will know Superman. And Superman D23 is infamous for its extreme weight shifts like this. And I feel like it's so iconic that with the higher like pitch, it just suddenly introduces it to the player. It makes a lot of sense in that regard. And then from here, it continues the idea with further harder variants of these splits, and also simple enough for the player to kind of react in time. Because these were simple, and then it's like, okay, it's a little bit harder here. Harder. And now it's forcing you to hit these. Like, the brackets get harder with the 4 times it shows, and this is the 4th time, so it's going to be obviously the hardest. Probably a nightmare to combo, but you get the idea. Alright, you remember how I told you about the quadrants? So we're going to have the bottom left, middle, and then we repeat that to the other side with the top left and top right. And don't forget the jacks, which are much harder now. It's a lot more strain on your knees, just trying to hit these versus like in the beginning. Well, before it was hinting at you at the very beginning with the yellows, but now, because the yellows is very balanced with your weight. This time it's like you're a little bit off balance with one of your right leg being on the red. And overall, it's harder to hit. Your body will tense up more easily. And here you have technically middle 6, but I would honestly say it's a side 3 focus with a little bit of a tight emphasis here. That's a general like fill, nothing in there. And then again, it repeats the exact same thing. It's Super fun. I love this quadrant idea. I feel like I've never seen it before, despite of how primitive and technically simple it is. Or, as I'd like to say, the box method. Alright, so we approached the bridge. Pretty typical fill section. I feel like he just charted whatever his mind told him to. Jump style with 16th notes. I was wrong. These are 8th notes. And every time there's a bass kick with the drum. Bum. 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 So that's 3 times it does that idea, which is, again, it's very fleshed out fun motions. And then right here, you're gonna tell me, Andy, what did that even follow? This followed absolutely nothing. And to that, I have to introduce you the pump license, or I would say flow as a sense, right? So this is just you getting the hints, getting the overall hit sounding in consecutive parts from like the 3 parts that had the bass kick, and just intuitively hitting this. So your feet alone creates that instrument. It creates that hit sounding. So it's very intuitive, it's very fun, and also it adds that layer of complexity to the charting. Very spicy. This is just it's fun. Because you're about to see here, it focuses now, again, we're going from the quadrant idea to the left and right side to extreme twist parts that would be otherwise, like, this feels like a singles part, but it's not. And I love that about this chart. It's very unique. And it's probably very fun. And it's visually also very striking. Alright, you might say, this looks awesome. And I have to agree with you, except that it has one issue. And one that's, unfortunately, something that could be actually very oversighted. So let's talk about hand pump versus your actual feet. If you were to play this with your hands, it would feel perfectly fine, honestly. But if I slow it down with 0.5, it's the final part here. Do you see the problem? You're ending this red foot on your right, and then you resolve it by transitioning to the left side, back with your left foot, which is fine. Well, obviously, we don't want to make a double step now, but it would be so much more comfortable and more free form, and technically more tiring for your body, but feel more natural if this was red blue. So it would be a twist. So it would be blue red, red blue, and then it would try to simulate in your head. I'll literally stand up right next to you. Notice how much more comfortable that is? Honestly, the more I think about it, if you do the red blue, maybe blue and comfortable. It's more violent of a jump. I think honestly, blue would be better here. That's personal subjective opinion. I'm not sure how much, maybe a little too much tiring that would be for the player, but it feels right in my heart. Again, this ending resolves incorrectly in my opinion. I would make this a red, blue. And then I love how it does this here. So this is such a, I mean, even in general, this is such a fun pattern. But now that you're like dancing along with this banger of a song, including the original hint, it's flawless execution. Because you could have done this same concept in the earlier parts, but one, it would have been more tiring. But two, since you were tight before, you're like open. And that's what the chart is trying to tell you as a player. You started with the middle 4 quadrants, then you were like the side 2 quadrants, and now you're fully moving around all the pads. As a representation, also the middle 6 part is also open style instead of constraint style. That's really good. Let's speed it up again. Oh, I had another problem here actually. Sorry. It's very minor though. Why? So you're going from left, right, left, right. So then obviously you're coming from the left side, right? So now you should swing that motion from the right side, just like how this part has taught you, and also just flow-wise, right? But I think it was a little bit of an oversight because this should be mirrored. the way you're supposed to jump should literally be the opposite side. So literally just horizontally flip this part and you're fine. Good fill part. And now, I love this climax. I have no issues with this. Again, as I mentioned, you're going from the original 4 quadrants from left to right, and now you're fully glowing with the dragon with good fortune. It feels a lot more fleshed out here. Instead of being in the quadrants, you're going just simply from the entire pad to pad. I'm just gonna slow it down. And now, there's actually a 10th weight jump. Again, I think it's great because not only does it kind of like add more strain to your knees, just overall adding more difficulty, and to the jack concept, right? It just feels right. I can't really describe it into words right now. Maybe I'm a little bit sleep deprived, but it's adding more intensity, and that's exactly how this climax should feel, right? Okay, what happened here? This is the exact same yellow, like, jacks that we saw in the very beginning, which was an intro part. It's not a problem that's the intro part. The problem is it's too easy, especially right at the ending, like, when you have the most energy. In my opinion, just mirror the same blue jumps you did earlier. Yeah. From red, 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 the triple red, red jump, and yeah, look, you have the same thing. Why did you not do the blue, blue here on the left side? I think it was just an oversight by just manually charting instead of mirroring. Which again is subjective of how you want to chart. But in this case I think it would be a lot better. Okay, this is again, why is this jack part so easy? This is like this final part should be the hardest, but it's not. Overall, there's a lot of ways to just increase the difficulty of this. You can I think it'd be a little bit even as 150 BPM, my idea was just making a cross jump style where like dun 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 dun. That might be a little too hard, or then you can just make it like a middle 6 part, like dun 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 dun. These final jumps here, how you actually approach them is really awkward in my opinion. Your right foot is trying to hint you towards swing to the left side, basically. You basically are forced to triple step. Even though this is a jump, it feels more like a triple step because the emphasis jack is on your right foot. I don't know, this feels kind of awkward to me. I feel like this part just kind of sucks. Especially that it kind of just stops abruptly. It just seems like it was just kind of rushed in comparison to the other parts. A possible idea here, this is fine. Again, this is so simple for the amount of like weight concept you developed, and just to kind of drop it is a little too simplistic in my opinion. This is just one idea. But that's me enough talking. I just want to show you the entire part fast forwarded. Peak charting. Despite some of its flaws, it's so fun. If these, like, I don't know, like, here's the thing. This chart is not made with a simulator. It was made with step edit, but like manually synced with like BGA and stuff like that. But 지지왕, 이 비디오 보면 혹시 edit 만들면 되나요? That probably translated horribly. He's probably not going to notice. I'll probably leave it in the description as well. I want to play this. This looks so fun. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Really, really good chart, honestly. Just a few parts I feel like are a little questionable, but it doesn't really matter of how questionable some of the parts or some of the maybe less refined parts are, because one, I'm nitpicking. That's the whole point of this video or playlist, right? And two, the fun factor is so high, it doesn't matter.